Okay guys, periodization video type 2. The first video we covered the actual training portion. Now this is the following periodization for my actual nutrition, my actual PEDs, my actual OTC supplements, my prehab, rehab, and all that good stuff. So we have over here, this is my baseline pharmaceutical approach. Again, this is all coming from Dr. Kurt at Hormone Health and Wellness. So this is my HRT, 200 milligrams of testosterone per week, 200 milligrams of nandrolone per week, and 1,000 milligrams of metformin per week. That is the baseline. So whenever I say baseline, that's what I'm referring to, and that's why I wrote it here. So during this initial phase, what I already did with the alarm phase was I kept PEDs, nutrition, OTC subs, and prehab all up baseline. I was trying to establish a new baseline from which to build off of with the new training. We did that. We now moved into the glycolytic-based phase. This is where we actually made the addition of now adding in insulin and growth hormone. Generally, I would precede growth hormone usage with insulin so you could build up binding proteins, but because my carbohydrates were already so high, I didn't need to do that. So we just introduced growth hormone again at 4 IUs before bed, and then we had insulin in the equation taken upon waking and before bed, very, very low dosages, only, I believe it's 4 or 5 IUs per right now. And again, that's more for pancreatic beta cell functioning more than anything. This nutritional block, again, since we are very glycolytic, we drove up carbohydrate intake day to day, and we have 2 refeeds per week. The first refeed is today, actually on Wednesday, and it's a G-flux based refeed, so driving up glycogen. The second one is on Saturdays or Sundays. That's a D-flux, driving dopamine, systemic recovery, and really just get to spend time with my family and get extra calories that I need to grow. OTC supplements have stayed at baseline. Prehab work, I started adding in more yoga, and I will auto-regulate that a bit more, whereas during this initial phase, the alarm phase, I was doing yoga consistently 2 times per week. Now this could be 3 times per week. This could be 1 time per week, depending on what I need. Then we will potentially move into the alactic phase, and since I'm not here yet, this is all up in the air. So I'm guessing by this phase, I'm going to need, because again, I know my body very well, I'm guessing I'm going to need more on the PED side of things. But again, that's not, I don't know why I classified glutathione and carnitine on here. Because they are injectable products, I figured I would wait and talk about them now. This is all assuming that I can find a carnitine source, obviously, and I will be trying to get injectable glutathione actually from Dr. Kurt. But nothing else. That is staying the same with the addition of growth hormone and insulin, and then moved into this phase, there's just the addition of glutathione and carnitine. At this phase, depending on how much systemic damage I need and have, where my calories are at from week to week changes, I may be increasing my nitrogen. Right now I'm at 375 grams per protein. That can go up to 400 to 450. I really like protein as well, and I really do like driving up protein at specific phases, just to have more nitrogen in your system. I'm taking a lot of damage, so I need to manage inflammation with curcumin and ashwagandha to handle the neurological side of things as well. And then prehab is stayed at that adjusted baseline with all of my aerobic work midday and night, along with that actual yoga, sun exposure, low intensity cardio, moderate intensity cardio. That all falls into that same kind of prehab type area. Then the final maturation phase, this is when I'm essentially dying. Everything is hard. We have everything on the PED side exactly the same. We have everything on the nutritional side probably exactly the same for these final 3 weeks as I eke out the final bit of growth that I can. We then have the OTC side. I begin jumping up immune products. So Fiber Plus from Project AD, Immune Plus, curcumin. Again, all of these things, everything on the immune side thing, gut health, that all gets driven up to accommodate for the systemic stress. And then we have prehab staying exactly the same, but I'm going to try to increase my sun exposure because during this final phase, I need my mitochondria operating as optimally as I can. So that is essentially how I have everything set up. The first video was on training. This video is more on the nutrition, the supplementation, the PED side of things. Remember, I can do this because I know my body, my response and physique very well, but any of this could change at any given time, week to week. I do check-ins with myself every Saturday, and I base that decision for what I'm going to do for the following week based off that, but I know the general idea of what I'm probably going to need. The one thing I forgot to mention is during my alarm phase, I did get blood work done. I donated blood. I got a lot of deep tissue work done. I will be having deep tissue work done consistently within each phase, basically separated by about 4 to 5 weeks, and trying to time it on when my damage is catching up with me. So that is essentially how to make your periodization work all together, because a lot of people periodize their training, but they forget you have to periodize your nutrition, your supplementation, your PEDs. Everything gets periodized together, and I feel like that's why people are really missing the boat today.